Hello again. As I promised you, we are going to start creating our own agent. But first, we are going to take a look at massive project structure. Now, in massive, it's better and always better to work within the project structure. And that because your mass scene, which is supposed to contain and represent all the paths to your elements, like your agents and your terrain, won't be able to find those elements within the same route if it wants to start simulation. But luckily for us, massive structure is really easy to use. Now you can create your own structure. You can put your elements wherever you want. You can name it whatever you want. You don't have to go through this particular folders and names. But it's always very, very recommended to be within the same root file. Now this is the folder here. It contains the project structure. I call it massive files. There's no specific reason for that. You can call it whatever you want. But it's a common name. A lot of users around the world use this name specifically. Now let's see what's inside. I got here a bunch of folders. Each folder contains a specific kind of element that Massive needs to create this scene. And the names of these folders are also a common name. It's not necessary to call it like that. You can call it whatever you want as long as it is in the same folder. Now, until now, all these folders are empty because I haven't created anything yet. Let's see what these folders represent. Act will restore the actions of the agent. CDL is for restoring the agent itself. We call it CDL because CDL is the extension of the agent file. Geo is for storing meshes, whether it's an agent mesh or a terrain mesh. Maps to store textures. Mass is to store scene files. And pick, usually we use it to store pictures that comes from previews or renders. Rip is for storing rib files that concern RenderMan or Air. We're not going to talk about that in this specific tutorial. Sim is to store simulation, and tree is to store motion tree files that will control the flow of the motion of the agent. Okay, I will say that one more time. You can put your files whenever you want, as long as it is within the same root. Same like a lot of graphic applications that required a specific project. But this is the common and probably the best way to organize your folders and files. Now I'm going to delete all these folders, or better, I'm going to go and create a new project folder. Okay, let me just name it. Okay, I can't name it with the same name, obviously. So I'll call this one here old. And I'll call this one massive files. Now this is the one that we checked before. I got the folders here. And here we are going to start from scratch and create our folders one by one as we progress within the tutorial. One thing I want to say, and it's important, you can't put any space when you're naming folders or files within Massive. Massive won't accept any names that have space on it. Always try to stick to underscores and the capital letters to define your names right and separate your words. Okay, let's start work within our new massive files folder here. Okay, I'm going to start creating my own agent now. You might think that I'm going to go to scene page here and drag an agent node, for example, and that will create my agent. It's a way, but I prefer to do it a different way. I'll go to body page and start creating my agent by creating the basic elements of any agent, which is the segment. Let's create a segment. These are the 4 segments kind that we have: sphere, tube, disk, box. We're going to drag this sphere node and create one. And once I drag it to my body page, it will appear here on my view. Now I can drag any kind of segment that I want, or I can change the type of that segment by pressing this button here. As you can see, sphere, tube, disk, box. And these are the 4 kinds of segments that I have. And I get here on the shape tab some properties and attributes that can change the shape of this segment. Cube here, for example, got the length, the radius and orientation. Disk and cube got the width, the height, and the length. I'll go back to sphere now. Now I'm going to call this root. Now I'm going to attach a different segment to this root. And there are 2 ways to attach segments to each other. The first way is to select the parent segment and then create the child segment, which is the box here. And once I drag it to body page, and because I selected already the parent segment, it will attach to it. Now the second way is very important. Let me first delete this box. I want you to pay attention to that method, because we are going to use this way to connect any nodes within Massive. Because most of the time while you work in Massive, you're going to connect and disconnect nodes. I'll create the box here. I'll put it on body page. I'll go to root and press Ctrl and left mouse button, and that will make it blue. And then, while still pressing Ctrl, I'm going to click with the left mouse button on the child, and that will immediately create a connection between the box and the root. Now, with this way, you're going to connect nodes not just within the body page, but also within the brain page and the motion tree page. Control, left mouse button, and then another left mouse button click on the child. Now, there's a couple of things I'd like to mention before we leave the body page and go to brain page and start talk about brain nodes. What's the use of these segments? Now, these segments, first of all, is the basic unit of any agent. You can't create an agent without at least one segment that would represent this agent. Now, the second thing, that it has 2 functions. The first function is as a bone or joint, and that means it can receive motion, and also it can be used to attach geometry to it by either using skin wrap or direct parenting. Now, the second function of that segment is to work as a proxy object in case you want to determine collision. And you're probably going to use collision in the future, whether in dynamic or to determine a specific behavior. But it's out of the scope of this tutorial. But in the future, if you go deeper within Massive, you're going to need this. Now let me change the dimension of that box to fit right. I'm going and I'm going to make the root smaller. Switch to wireframe to see it better. And let me change the translation of that on the TY. Just to put it directly on ground. And this will be our very, very, very basic agent. And as I promised you, we're going to start filling that project structure by saving this agent. Go File, Save Agent. This is my Massive Files project. I'll create a new folder and call it CDL. And you are going to call this agent simply box. And press save. Okay, we're back. This is our box agent, but I took the liberty to do some improvement on it. Let me show you what I have done here. Let me go to body page. As you can see, I add some segments. Don't worry, nothing new. No more information here. Nothing you can do. You can probably connect it by yourself. I just added tip, front, and some stuff here. I just want to mention a few things before we go to brain page and talk a little bit about the nodes. First of all, you notice that the schematic of that skeleton, it looks similar like the shape of the jet itself on the view. I call it jet, by the way. It looks like a jet. And I did that intentionally because it's always better for the skeleton to look similar for the shape on the view. And that because it's going to give you more freedom and more control to know exactly what's the segment that you want to adjust or select, where you want to move on or change on this body schematic. So it's always recommended to do that. And the second thing is about those two wings here. This wing L left and wing R right. Now there's this option which is really useful on Massive. If you create a segment and name it on a similar way like here wing R or R wing or whatever you want, and called another segment with the same name with only one difference, which is the R or L, and on edit menu here you have this symmetric option checked on, Massive will immediately understand that these two segments are symmetrical, and it will start treat it on that base. So for example, if I go to wing R here and start translating, you will notice that the wing L here, which is that one, will go in the inverse direction. And that can be very useful if you want to build or adjust your skeleton within Massive. One more thing also, I have this agent, and the name of that agent will appear on that blue tab here. But what if I have a different agent within the same scene? I'll go to File, I'll go to Load Agent, and I will choose this box, this agent box here. And that would be the old version of the first box that we created. Now I have two agents on my scene, the box and the jet. So once I select one of those agents, the name of the agent will be appeared on that tab here. And that name will indicate what's the current agent that I'm working on. So for example, if I go to box and select it and go page up, I will find this box skeleton. If I go and select the jet agent, I go to body page, I'll find my new segments hierarchy that I created. And that if you want to deal with the different agents within one scene. Okay, let's delete this agent here. And I noticed something funny here. Let me just be sure, but yes, it's on body page. This is the right wing and this is the left wing, but I name it on reverse. Shame on me. So I'll change it like that. I'll make this L. And you can notice that on Massive you can name two nodes within the same page with the same name. And that's probably because it have an internal name that it can distinguish between all the nodes. Okay, I'll make that R. That's better. Now in the next lesson, we are going to start exploring some nodes within the brain page and start doing some tests on that little fellow here.